What you see, Ken?
Record. Record. Here we go. Okay, so return. So yeah, that fabulous talk from the fluorescence for Bill, and then yeah, leading us over to Bart today, and yeah, gave us a little teaser at the start. So yeah, we're going to talk about that goji plant, and yeah, goji berries. Go ahead, Bart.
Hello, everyone. All right. So take a look. I am growing. I don't know if this will help make you see it better. I don't know. Sorry, I'm just trying to help make it
Oh, that's a
focus.
great. I could see it fine, and lovely little plant.
Yeah, look at this. So I like to talk about wild edibles. So goji is not really a wild edible. So it's kind of a tame, domesticated one because it's been domesticated in China for like, well, thousands of years. So what do I have here? It's a goji berry, and this is something that everyone can grow. So how did I get this one? I didn't order it from any place online. I didn't order it from, like I basically went to my supermarket store. I bought dried goji berries, and I basically extracted the seeds. I put them in a tray, and I grew them, and this is what I have. This is under 6 months. So in my basement, it's really cold and very dry, so they're not growing very well. But once the summer comes and spring comes, these things are gonna go awesome. So yeah, does anyone know what goji berry is? Why goji berry is? Why would you care really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. I mean, I quite like that, the idea that you could just get that at the supermarket.
Yeah, and I'm surprised how quickly they grew, how well they grew from little seeds. And I mean, I thought you need to cold stratify them because they have that same process, but they probably were at the store, and so that's why they just kind of grew normally.
Yeah, because of that drying process, and yeah, whatever the packaging was. Okay.
Right. So now here's a question. Why would you want to be growing this funny? Well, it's because it's for your health. So this is one of those long-term investments you can grow that could just continuously be benefiting you. All right. That's the main way to sell it. So if I caught your interest, let's listen in.
Come on, man. So yeah, once we've got the small plant, you're going to put that outside ultimately in the ground.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So now for the what I'll do is I'll share my screen right now. And I have, can you guys see this right here?
I can, yes.
All right. So basically, this little plant is going to grow into this beauty. All right. So what are some of its characteristics? Well, it's a woody plant. So so why does that matter? Because there's like hardwood, like the big oaks, the gigantic trees, the maples. Then there's the woody plants. So they just have a small little woody branch they use for support. Like another example is elderberry. And then there are other ones like vine. There's just the regular plants on the ground. There's fungi. And so there's different kinds. So it's basically a woody plant. It can grow in like temperate climates, like winter. So if there's winter, right, it could survive. I think the temperatures are like -20, -30. Anything lower, it kind of just dies. So I mean, if your ranges are there, right, you can have it in your backyard. It's what's nice about it, from what I've heard, is that once you plant it in the ground, you don't have to do much maintenance. I mean, you don't have to fertilize it because it just does a really good job just extracting the stuff from the soil. The only thing it's required is it needs quite a bit of sun. So I mean, it's part of the nightshades. I'll talk about that in a second. So it needs a lot of sun. So wherever you plan to put this in your backyard, it's going to need a lot of sun. And it's also a perennial. So that means that, when winter comes and then when winter's gone, it'll still be around. So it'll come year after year after year after year. And so why would you grow this plant? And now, as far as the size, yeah, it probably goes to like, I'm 6 foot, so it kind of goes like around 12-ish. You can always trim it down. This doesn't grow into a gigantic tree. It's just kind of like a woody bush. And what it does is it creates these berries. Take a look. Has anybody seen? So have you guys seen goji berries before?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's kind of how they look like. And so they are just abundant. And what's really cool about these is they start producing flowers. And so the flowers are like these purple-looking, five-shaped purple-looking flowers, and they go all the way to fall. And so what happens is you can actually harvest them, and then they'll flower again. You can harvest them, flower again, and harvest them. So that's just like a fruit, like it just produces so much abundance. So as a plant by itself, it's pretty awesome. So now it requires a lot of sun, and it also requires like it doesn't require too much minerals and or sorry, much like fertilization, right? You don't need, it doesn't need to have a companion plant. So remember we talked about there's like a male and a female. Some plants have that, right?
Mhm.
So this one is just good by itself. Each flower, it can self-pollinate. So you don't even have to plant multiple. You could just have, if you have this large piece of lawn, like lawn, and you want to just convert it into a nice fruit bearing, like, you know, plant. I mean, this will be a great substitute for that. So there we go. So that's kind of how the berries look like. So it's and here's a little bit, a few more pictures. So as an edible, you typically buy it in stores, as you see right here, dried up, right? So dried up is the main way to get it, and you'll never get it in its fresh form like this because it's difficult to transport, right? Like when you start pick it can start oozing out, and then which will result to like decay and then mold and blah 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 blah. So if you're ever gonna get this from a store, it's always gonna be dried. So one of the benefits of just growing it by yourself is you'll be one of the lucky few that's able to taste a goji berry fresh off the vine.
And
Okay.
that is safe to just eat. Like if you were growing it in your garden, you could just literally pick that and eat that, and you wouldn't have to do a cooking process or anything to worry about
Correct.
or anything.
You
Wow.
got it. Absolutely. And that's a great question because safety is the thing we're going to talk about as well. Why? It's because the goji berry is part of the nightshade family. All right. So just as a refresher, we talked about ginkgo. That's its own independent family. There's nothing else like it. So it's part of its own family. The rowan is part of the rose family. And now we're talking about goji, and that's part of the nightshade family. And earlier in Bill's discussion, we talked about the lagoon family. So what's common in the nightshade family? So have you guys by chance heard of potatoes or
Yeah.
eggplants or tomatoes or peppers? Well, all of these plants actually are in the same family. So isn't that interesting?
Yes, wow. I knew about, it's funny you mentioned nightshades. I knew that tomatoes were involved with that because I encountered a few food allergies at the pizzeria. Obviously, tomatoes come a lot in pizza. And yeah,
Yes.
people having nightshades, yeah, aversions, addictions. What's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, no, you said earlier, you said like allergy, right?
Allergy, that's it. Sorry, allergy. It just went for me. Yeah. So yeah, allergic reactions to nightshades. And yeah, but potatoes and eggplants,
I
extremely
know.
surprised by
Isn't
those.
that wild?
Yeah,
So
that's
what
mad.
so what happens is because they all belong to this family, they all sort of have a common characteristic, and that is they all need a lot of sun. So that's one of them, right? So potatoes is one of those things that you just need to have a lot and a lot of sun for it to grow well, right? You put in the ground, it does a really good job by itself extracting the nutrients and whatever just for it to grow. So now it also has some of the bad sides, which is something we need to talk about. And this is why it's not this don't make it as a wild edible to go and look for, okay? Because the nightshades are very like so they kind of like the family has some dangerous neighbors. So when I was looking at wild edibles, if you take a look at the goji berry, would you not agree it looks similar to this one?
Oh,
All
wow.
right. Well, they're in the same family. They're part of the nightshade family. So now, but this is a different species, right? So it evolved. It's in the same family, but evolved differently than goji. And what this one evolved to, now this one is called bittersweet nightshade. So basically, those berries are, I joke around, never wake up berries. Okay, so they're poisonous, right? So the nightshades have this dangerous aspect to them. So like some of the family members, right? And the nightshades also has like one of its family members is also, so this one's bad. And I noticed these things grow a lot in my area. So that's why you'll never see me picking any of these sort of like bright red sort of scary looking berries. So there's also another more dangerous, this one you could probably survive. You know, I don't want to say this, I'm not an expert. Definitely look all this stuff up. But there are even more deadlier cousins, right? So there is like, there's even a more deadlier one, which is literally called deadly nightshade.
Deadly nightshade, the famous one.
Right. So this one is even in like European and stories around the world, like in I think Macbeth. I think they use these like the ingredients from this to, you know, for their little drama. And basically every bit of it's like poison. The leaves, the berry, and you can tell it is where the little leaf is bigger than the berry. That's I heard one person explain that to me. So I mean, I know I keep telling everyone, you know, whenever you're doing wild edibles, like to you know, look it up, be confirmed, ask an expert. You really should. Do as much, right?
Well, they have they have an app now where you can just scan the plant and it tells you if it's good for you or if it's not.
No, I use that one. It's great. Again, you just got to be careful because when you're looking at like deadly nightshades, they look very similar to a safer version called the black nightshade, which is actually one that's used around the world to eat, right? And the main difference is the black nightshade has a very small little leaves, but they look very like the fruit looks similar. So, but then you know that's a difference. But I mean, like I just want to end with like this video because I was so shocked when I was like looking this up. And just take a look at this.
Oh, they're so tasty. Healthy mountain treat.
6 hours later, we're both like,
Colors like from both ends. I mean, I hope they're blackberries. We're gonna find out. Because I just ate like 2 handfuls.
I guess you could always find out that way.
So, right? Guys, please be careful. All right.
What was that?
So that's one of the
that
controversies.
was the end of those people.
Yes.
Holy shit.
Now, Bart, these berries, how you say they recirculate their growth. So once you pick a berry, how long does it take for it to come back again?
Sorry, you know what? As far as these guys, I haven't done too much research on them. I was just frightened in what I discovered. So
Okay.
I just wanted to bring that up.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked.
Right. So like, yeah, basically that's why when I say please do your research, that's what it means. I mean, if you want to even begin thinking about wild edibles, one person explained it to me that everyone that you think looks safe, try to do research on its deadly looking like lookalikes. So there is a lot of like berries that have a lot of deadly like lookalikes. So the first thing in wild edibles is you got to know what the deadly lookalikes are. That's why I just want to bring this up. So I know I'm talking about Goji and then I'm going to this horrible thing. So that sort of leads into the discussion. Why am I talking about this? Why does this matter? Okay. And it actually ties into what James was talking about when he said that some people have an allergic to it. Why? So what happens is, and by the way, this is what I said earlier, James, where like I sort of discovered all this earlier, but back in the day I didn't know about this. So what happens is, what's common about the nightshade family is that the plants that grow in this family, they produce a lot of these things called lectins. Okay, what is it? Why does it matter? It matters because every plant in nature gets attacked by, you know, mammals or insects, right? So every plant has developed with some level of lectins or other like chemicals to ward off, to fight and scare away and make it unedible and make it like not tasty for insects, right? So lectin is that ingredient. And what happens is the nightshades are one of those plants that have a lot more than average compared to other plants. Okay. And when we talk about the different individual plants, some of them have little, which makes them, you know, like edible, right? Goji as an example. And some of them have a lot. So that's what makes them kind of controversial, right? Like these, for example. So, I mean, there's a bunch of like I'm sorry, I didn't memorize the name of the chemicals. There's like, I think they're called alkaloids, solenoids, or something like that. And they're the ones that are toxic to humans. They have all this negative stuff. So that's one of the things about the nightshades, right? Like they have different levels. Now, to tie it back to like if you have a tomato allergy, yeah. So what happens is tomatoes would have a lot of lectins, and lectins in large amounts do have sort of like adverse effects to like the human being, right? What happens is they like concentrate the gut, and then they cause like your gut to sort of leak, your immune system to go to overdrive, and then you can have like inflammation. um I was actually surprised to even learn about this stuff, and I was always like was surprised that my mom couldn't eat tomatoes, and turns out she is just kind of allergic to nightshades because of this reason. So that's something to consider when you're thinking about eating goji, right? Like some people just won't be able to eat it.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, that's kind of interesting. Those cousins, yeah, of or cousins or like related plants that are like so similar and so deadly compared to something, yeah, like the superfood, the best of food. All food aspires to be as super as that one. But yeah, be careful. So I guess you want to make sure you grew it yourself. You know what I mean? For guaranteed goji berry.
Yeah. Yep. And I thought to myself, like, wait a minute, a potato's poisonous? What? Right. So after going down that rabbit hole, turns out it is. But it's like, well, wait a minute, we're all eating it. So what's the deal? What's going on? So what happens is the potato is, when it's green, right, it has a high concentration of lectins, which a person eats, you get terribly sick. And as we talked about, so we all harvest potatoes when they lose their green sort of shade, and they are what you see as there, like either like a reddish or like a brownish sort of outer surface. And then we know it's edible, and then we could sort of eat it, right?
Now, Bart,
go ahead.
Sorry, before you go on there, like all these plants that you're growing downstairs and these trees and these berries, is it on, like, do you have a light cycle going on down there? What do you use? Just your regular LED lights in the ceiling, or?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
So when I just come into, like, because this is my office as well. When I come into the office, I just turn on the lights. I look at it. It's kind of nice and relaxing, and they're just LEDs, and then they're just running in the background while I sort of sit here and work.
Okay, we should probably get you a tent.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, absolutely. I love that.
That way you can concentrate to like maybe one thing at a time, and it can get bigger for you or whatnot, right? With the type of light that you have.
Yep. And I mean, for the people that are growing cannabis, I think this will be, yeah, I guess I could segue away from this. This will be probably a good plant as a companion, because like it has pretty much like the similar requirements as cannabis. It needs a lot of light. It needs to be in a sort of a humid area, right? It's good with warm temperatures. Another thing I didn't mention is this is a plant that you can actually grow to some degree in a desert-like setting. It's okay with that, because what it does is it sends out deep roots all around, like fibrously, right? It doesn't have a tap root, but it does send out like deep fibrous roots all around. So that's why it's pretty like resilient in extracting all the nutrients necessary for it to grow. So let's see. So yeah, grows in various temperatures. It prefers warm, sunny, and the berries produce very often. The negatives, what I talked about, is a part of nightshade. Some people won't be able to have them. And also, if some people have some medical conditions, they're going to need to speak to their doctor. Again, I'm not a doctor, right? They need to speak with them, because I think it might affect something with like diabetes and medications and whatnot. So, make every effort to do some research. So now that we're sort of past that,
Hey Bart,
go ahead.
Is that a diabetic joke?
Oh no, I wasn't. So I'm not thinking about jokes right now.
I'm diabetic, by the way. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh no, sorry. Yeah.
No, don't be sorry. I'm just messing with you, buddy.
Yeah. Like I guess we could talk about, like, okay, why would you want to grow this, right? So I mean, this is kind of like a nice list we can look at. The three top reasons, regardless of this list, is it's for longevity, like it just adds to your like health maintenance, right? Now one thing that they don't talk about, which I'm surprised, is the goji berries. They have a lot of like a protein for a berry, for a little berry. They pack a lot of protein, which helps you get your protein, adds to like the protein requirements for what you need. So I mean, if you're like doing weightlifting and and training, there's always that, how am I getting enough protein? Oh, I gotta make it like this balance. So goji would be a good thing to add in your sort of routine, right?
I should have took that a long time ago, man. Prevents diabetes. Jesus, if I would have took that when I was 6 years old. Oh.
Yeah, and the goji berries, for the most part, they're safe for like, you know what, you have to do research for yourself, but from what I've seen, it's safe for like everyone, really, like that doesn't have these medical conditions. It's good for your eyes, so that helps with your improvement there. It helps with now longevity. Here's a kind of an interesting story. So there is I haven't done research, but from what I've heard, there's a guy who claims to have lived 256 years, and he believes that someone what contributed to that, okay, was, and I'll actually look it up quickly right now. What's it called? Person who lived 256 years after eating goji berries. So this is now the reason why I bring this up is not actually to make fun or make a joke. It's just that interesting because he's actually like he's a historical person that's been recorded by like the government to have actually lived quite a number of years, and the controversy is like, okay, is he telling the truth or did he not, right? So this gentleman right here is like claimed to have lived a large amount of years, right? And he attributes it to like goji berries and a bunch of ginseng and the other berries, other foods he was eating. So, right. So that's interesting.
Did you got a picture of him or sure?
Yeah, he's okay.
Are you guys? Yeah, you see him now.
That's the iPhone kicking. Oh, there we go. I had to scroll over.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry about that.
No, that's my fault. That's my fault there, Bart.
There we go.
Jesus.
Yeah, okay.
So it's very interesting. I mean,
so they don't actually know when he was properly born.
1677 to 1933. Is that what it said?
Again, I'm not doing this for jokes, right? Like it's very interesting that
right. What kind of drugs was he using?
Well, that's what it is. He's using goji. He claims it's goji berry, right? That's what he's.
There you go.
Oh God.
He went. So yeah. So that, I mean, I think again, there's a lot to be said for like longevity again, just like health, like in cannabis. Do you know what I mean? It seems to be like,
right.
Like again, just for CBD and all these cannabinoids that are sort of coming out now as being these great ones for sort of elderly and as you age and stuff like that. And really, anyone who's been smoking or using cannabis for a long time has just got a body full of this stuff. So, I mean, yeah, look at Snoop Doggy Dogg. He's like in his 50s now and he's still dunking on people,
Yeah. So that's, I mean, if you believe, right, and you see in your life the benefit of growing cannabis and all the health benefits. So what I sort of bring into this discussion is it doesn't end with cannabis.
No,
you can go to your store right now, go to the section with like the dried fruits, pick up some goji berries, plant them, and in a few weeks, you're gonna be having this, right? You could have this as yourself, and then you can be growing this perennial, right? So, right, cannabis, if I'm not mistaken, guys, is annual, right? Or
yeah,
right? Yep. So you could have this grow as accompanying it, right?
Yeah. I'm going to definitely keep an eye out for some goji berries. I'd love a little goji in the tent with it, I think. With my little avocado, my little goji berry tree. It's like the Rowan's. It's a shame it's so cold again, winter, getting into the arboretum. Do you know what I mean? Like in Springbank now, going and having a look at some of the trees that are in there. And seeing if I can, pick a couple of things off a few things,
Mm-hmm.
So Bart, this goji berry, how big does it have to be before you can put it outside, or can you just throw it outside like with the Canadian weather? How does that work?
Yeah, good question. So good news is I've seen a woman in northern Alberta that grows it continuously, and she says it's fine, right? So it's tough enough. Basically, I would that what so again, this is the very first time in my life, my entire life, that I'm growing goji, and that I just went to the store and I got it this way. So I'm gonna be discovering, and I guess I'll answer that question in the future.
Okay, yeah, okay.
But you do bring up a question, like, okay, Bart, when can I eat this? So when it's in the ground, expect from 4 to 7 years, in between that range, that eventually you'll be getting goji berries.
Okay.
And then once you get it, you're gonna be getting it. It's gonna start in June, it's gonna end in fall, and you're gonna get multiple harvests. You pick them, you get multiple harvests. You could also cut them at the beginning of spring, not to the ground, but like, I think it's called coppice, where you like go in the middle of it, you cut the branches, and then
Yeah,
when
all the
spring
different-
comes around, they still start growing from there, and it'll be like, oh, we've been cut, there's danger, so they'll start growing more. You'll start having, so that's what some you'll notice there'll be a lot more abundant, kind of like this, right? Because it's kind of like you're triggering the hormones in the plant, be like, oh, danger, we got cut, so we need to grow the leaves from that point and make sure we put a lot more berries than usual, because there's a danger the main plant might be like terminated. So that's an interesting thing, technique that the planters could use.
All right, one more question here, Bart.
Go ahead. No,
like,
go ahead.
a little off topic here. We got a raspberry bush outside.
Yep.
And it's gotten fairly big. Like, we can't keep up with the raspberries. They end up going bad, right? Or we just don't have the time to pick them. So, but every year we prune it. Should we be pruning the raspberry plants just like those berries there?
Yeah, that's a good question, because you remind me something else. What the common thing with raspberries is they like to sucker. Have you guys heard that word before? Sucker. What it means is, from the main plant. So if this is like the main plant you have in your backyard, what happens is it'll send out lots and lots of roots, and as soon as it's kind of on the surface and it detects air, the hormones trigger, and then it'll grow a separate plant. And then this separate plant will have its own independent kind of roots. And this is what raspberries do a lot. That's why when you put one raspberry in the ground, it's going to sucker, and it's going to create like a raspberry patch. And then in the future, if you want to get rid of it, good luck, because it's going to be deep in the ground. There's going to be roots everywhere. And as soon as you cut them all down, they're going to just pop all out. So yeah,
they're a fast growing plant, because I've noticed, because we have it right beside our main garden. And like in the spring, we'll, like, before I rototill, there'll be like 6 or 7 new plants popping up. And like, it's not just beside the raspberry plant, it's like a couple feet away. Like maybe a couple meters away. Yeah. Which all we do is we take them out and replant them beside the raspberry bush.
See, the funny part is you don't even need to do that, because there's already like a root that's next by, that's going to eventually next summer or whatever pop out, right? So that's
I just feel like it's a waste. You know, we like them so much, so we just move them over.
It's good. The goji berry also has this behavior. So when it's springtime, if you notice there's so again, it's a soft wood sort of plant. So it'll look, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, a raspberry is like a cane, right? So you can cut the cane, and then when spring comes around, it'll sort of pop out and it'll be more vigorous, because it's like, oh, there's danger, right? So with goji, you could just leave as is, and it's every year it's gonna just give you bountiful fruit. And let's say you don't want to eat it, you just want to, harvest it, eat it at a later point. So what you can do is you can just collect it, and then you could dry it out, right? And then you could have it all year round. And it just and of course the benefits, as I talked about. So if you're weightlifting, it adds to your the daily protein that you can use. Adds to your longevity for your eyes. And as far as the other stuff, like you just have to, again, you got to go and do your own research, and you also got to consider that because it's part of the nightshades family, it's not going to go down easy with some individuals, and that was intended pun.
All right.
Right, because of lectins. Okay, so that's kind of, and I think if you go here, So now they sort of talk about, well, okay, if lectins are so bad in your diet and it has such a negative effect on human health, what can you do to replace it in your life? And so, excuse me, what some people recommend is instead of growing potatoes, you can grow sweet potatoes because they are not in the same nightshade family, right? So you don't have that buildup of lectins. Same with like pumpkins and celery to make up for it. So yeah, I think that kind of wraps it up,
Yeah,
really.
no, that's amazing. So,
Oh, wait,
so
that's not
you know,
the 255-year-old dude there.
Yeah, this gentleman.
Oh
Again,
my
not
God.
as a joke. It's actually, it just sort of adds to like you know, the longevity aspect to it. It's believed to contribute. There's some, you know, there's science behind it that contributes to it. And this is just like an interesting little history fact where like even the government had to like scratch its head and be like, huh? You know, like how do we quantify this, right? So it's very interesting.
Occupation herbalist. No, it's neat though. I like it. I don't believe it, but I like it.
I love it though. I love it, you know. So
yeah, that's great one. Well, so yeah, all those wonderful health benefits. Yeah, the goji berry part, fantastic.
so everyone could just go to the store, buy some dried. You got to take out the seeds, and you could have this growing companion with what you want to grow, and it contributes to your well-being just like cannabis.
Yeah, that's
That's
right.
all I got to wrap it up.
I sort of, it's like again, it's another one of those list of things that I really do want to sort of get going in my back garden now. I've got a perfect spot. Actually, I can think the sunniest spot. It'd be out, but it's kind of, this is why cannabis isn't so good for it, because it would be out on the street almost. It's like the roadside, but there's a good spot. I think I'm gonna get myself some goji berries this week, I think, Bart, and see if I can't get one of those going. I'm on the lookout for more auto flowers for my little operation. Bill's got his fluorescence roided up. Possibly, I don't know. It's like that one's on quite a cocktail of some
Yeah.
thing, you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm sure the quality of the cannabis and then the yield will be incredibly good, I guess, from all of those things. So yeah, I guess, yeah, so we'll sort of wrap up today. I guess always, as usual, we'll say go and check out igrow.world, igrow.website, check out the igrow community for like further access to these podcasts, more information. We were hoping to have our fourth member today. We'll just say that we were going to have ChatGPT take part in the podcast today as well, and maybe just see if we can ask it a few questions about things we were talking about. But it's just having a total nightmare, ChatGPT at the moment. It's I guess being that it's full inception into the world now, and it being fully accessible by everyone, is left to it them just not being there, having the server space to use it. It seems to be they're doing quite well. I mean, I quite like what they're doing here as far as it's just basically giving you kind of a generated ChatGPT questions, because it just says so, like, and every time you reload it, it gives you a different one. So we've been looking. It's funny. So ChatGPT is currently incapacitated right now. But this is the question we get: write an inspirational speech about the status of ChatGPT. I've got that one at the moment. I had one from the position of an otter described it, and it was just like squeak, squeak. I can't work right now. Squeak, squeak. So quite funny. But we'll hopefully try and incorporate that kind of AI into this and see what it kind of knows about goji berries. That might be quite interesting. But yeah, going along with the goji, the rowan, and the ginkgo. Yeah, fantastic plants, just able to just grow at home in your basement. Yeah, it seems to be without a lot of major effort here, really. Just like, simply like give it a bit of love, like all plants. Yeah, get that seed going, and then just provide it some nice conditions. So yeah, I guess we'll just say, I'll just go. So thank Bill Flick, for that wonderful explanation about your grow chemical moment. Thanks again, Bart Mika. Another very informative chat about the goji berry this time. And me, J to the T, iGrow community. Catch us on all of our social media, on Instagram at the moment, on Facebook, that discussion group, here on this podcast, and iGrow.world website. Don't forget to go on that one again. So I'll bid you farewell and good afternoon, gentlemen. Goodbye to you, Bill. Goodbye to you, Bart.
Cheers.
Take care.
Yeah, thanks very much, and we'll see you next time, I guess.
Bye.
At that point, I guess Nico would run credits or something like that.
Yeah, that was a good one. We're getting better, boys.
Very good.
That was fun.
So many notes again.
You got, so anyways, JT, you said you had a lot of mold this year outside, eh? You were saying?
That was, yeah, I think my kid just watered the actual plant though, is what I've been interrogating them slowly about what their interactions were, but I think they just might have sprayed them with the hose.
Okay, that'll do it.
Yeah, I think that's why it was such a quick trip, like fucking collapse in fucking the whole thing, because
How many did you have? 4?
3. Well, the one was the one I kept inside, and then yeah, the 3 outside, the sort of 3 tall ones were yeah, that was just, yeah, I think yeah, my son and daughter, we were playing like firemen. We play a lot of firemen to water the other plants with hose. So it's like put that green fire out, so they do all the hostas and all that stuff. And I think maybe they just did that while I wasn't supervising, and yeah, did everything. And yeah, because that was why it was just something. I don't know. I never really get to the bottom of it, but it just was talking to another guy. It seemed like that something like that would be, yeah, if they actually sprayed the whole plant and got it wet in those final weeks, that would have been able to, why it came up so quick, really, and why it all, yeah, why they were just.
It wasn't autoflower, was it?
No, they were like those purple number ones I had a really good veg with in here, and then yeah, pretty much just ready when flowering time. I got them outside just in time, I think. Because they did flower, like I say, they look great. I mean, go look at the pictures of them before they fucking died.
Now you
yeah, quite
you
large
just did
yields.
seeds, right?
That was right, yeah. Just
okay.
Yeah, just seeds from the shop, start them off. But yeah, I'm yeah, some more flowers for me because they're just good fun. I'd quite like to try a couple of different strains.
Right.
That one's not fun anyway. But that's cool. Well, keep an eye. This that nomination thing. It that might not come of much, funnily enough. I'll just tell you guys, because it was all supposed to be the woman that got in touch with me. It was all like on the last day. It all had to be like.
Yeah, I saw like they wanted all your
back in. It was like like on the 31st. So I did them last night. Kind of. I think I gave her everything she needed, but I don't know. But it's kind of a funny thing. But we might try and milk it for some sort of thing, or at least go to Canna Expo in Toronto. Maybe. I mean, I might just go anyway, whether I get the votes or not. But
let me know. I'll go with you there, JT.
Yeah, like you might have to. Like I don't know. They say that basically of the 1st of Feb, they'll send me a like a picture, like blah blah blah. iGrow Community has been nominated for best grower online or best online grower. You know what I mean? It's I don't know. It might be too much. Is the guy that at work, just a nice guy I work with? He just filled out the form to nominate me, but it might be a bit much for now because yeah, I've only grown a couple of plants, so it seems a bit of a
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. You're going to be going up against people that are like, you're going to be like, what am I doing?
Well, they have practice too, right? Because they've been doing it for just a little bit longer than you. Yeah. And so they had just a little bit more practice than you. So it's kind of
like, I don't know who's been nominated yet. I don't know the other people. I don't really know. But really, if it's anybody that I've watched, it's you're really just looking at a bit of a competing numbers game thing. So I don't know. But anyway, we'll keep an eye on that. I'll keep it all updated.
Do these guys have an Instagram
Congratulations again. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thing, yeah.
Do these guys have an Instagram page?
Well, I've got it was actually the people that are organizing the Canna Expo, it's what's the name? Yeah, Kelly Green's Lounge is the
How many followers they have?
They've got a couple of thousand. Yeah, they've got 3,500, but I think that's just the woman that's organizing the awards bit. Like I say, the Canna Expo is like there's tons of different people there, I think. So
did they follow you back or did they?
They did, yeah. They reached out to me over email and on this, but yeah, they've just got lots. It seems like again a similar sort of a collective of lots of different cannabis-y stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's a thing. I'll just sort of see how it pans out. But I don't know. It might be worth doing. I don't know. I'll see. It might be worth having a push. Because again, if it's just other new growers, do you know what I mean? If you've sort of been nominated for that thing before and you've kind of won it, I don't know whether you go back in again or not. But if it's kind of newer people, like that would be a better category, I think, like new grower, best new grower I could probably like, because that's like, that fits me quite well. But yeah, so we'll see with that. I'll keep you guys updated on how that goes. But yeah, we might just get to go to the show or something anyway.
That'd be cool.
I think it's a great start. Great
Yeah, get
start.
experience.
Well, this is it. Everything is just slowly ticking away. Like I say, that Instagram's like 213 people so far, but all those followers have again been good producers, MTL Cannabis, that growers. You know, this Prairie Grower guy who started following me regularly likes to post. Just again, I think some of the just talking about the products. He's he's got like 5,000, but he's very well known. And and then like MTL Cannabis is like, you know, 20 odd thousand.
He would have to repost your post in order for other people to see it, right?
Well, yeah, I have been getting a bit of that. So on the story modes, like if I do a little cannabis review, like up on this bit, you can see it. So when you like that one, like the story, it's like I did the little explanation of the thing, and then it got reposted to their wall. They saw it and reposted it. So it's like, that's an actual supplier. And then that was, you know, like that represented a day of people reposting me, if you know what I mean. Like I got like 9 mentions that day from the people I make the products of. So that's, if I just keep doing that, basically I slowly kind of collected pretty much every decent producer is now like following me. So if I did have to then say how I've been nominated for this award and tagged all these people, I just wonder then what numbers it would give me access to if, you know, if a few of them then put it on their wall or said, yeah, actually we follow this guy and we've been liking his stuff, I'll share that thing, you know. So I don't know, I don't know, like it's a challenge. I don't want to sort of say I don't want to do it, but it just might be one of them, like the numbers just might make it impossible, basically.
Yeah, well, you got a lot going on too, JT. Like you're always posting, and now you got this on Tuesdays. We got meetings on Wednesdays. Like you committed a lot of time, man.
But yeah, never. So well, this is a kind of thing. It's like a blend of like, it's like life, like it. Yeah, I'm always growing things now, and I'm always working in cannabis. So it's kind of like I'm in it. So yeah, it's like, yes, just sort of make it work for us, really. I'm like an undercover agent almost in the industry kind of thing. All right, you guys. Okay, look, I'm going to stop the recording there and save these and move them over to that thing. It didn't take all that